Hello, everybody.
Sorry.
It's all my fault. That's why we're late.
Ouais.
Yep, keep nodding, knock.
Il est cool, là, par exemple, je t'avais rencontré brièvement.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, we're already live. It's
Oh.
the 15th
But I didn't
of February. Welcome to our show. Yeah, okay, so I take full blame for being late.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? I think we'll jump right in by letting Knock jump in and do the alerts while I set up something else right quick that is going to be going on later.
You know, since you were late, I got nothing.
Thanks.
I think we've got, let's see, nope, that's already gone. Yeah, locally, unless New Orleans or Baltimore or Hennepin County happened already, Portland happened already. Wow. It's a wasteland.
Oops, hang on a second. There we go. Getting it set up for later.
Yeah.
You don't have anything on the local? How about on the state front, Alex?
Yeah. How about the state front?
I know there's two new call to actions out.
Well, there were updates. I did updates yesterday. That's what I spent my day doing. Indiana was updated, who I believe you'll be having a guest on for that. So I'll just leave that in their court. But we'll talk about that later. And then North Dakota is updated as well. That is, let me get my thing up here.
Tuesday instead of Wednesday?
Yeah, we got notice of a hearing that was going to be on Wednesday. Actually, it's the full Senate was meeting on Wednesday, and then they bumped that up to Tuesday. And this bill, SB 2322, is going to be heard on the full Senate floor, no matter what happens in the committee. But it would be great to kill it in the committee. This was one of a pair of bills that North Dakota had a kind of an ambiguous definition of other tobacco product, and it was originally, it wasn't made or derived from tobacco, but it was made from tobacco, something like that. It wasn't as elegant as the FDA definition, but SB 2322 has been amended to include electronic cigarettes, and it's a 50% wholesale tax. And there's not many people in North Dakota. We've had some participation, but if anybody knows anybody in North Dakota, call them and cry on the phone and tell them to take action, because we really need people to kill this bill.
There were some interesting quotes from the article about what's going on in North Dakota. There's a representative Republican, Vicky Steiner, and she was quoted by saying, "Why would we increase the tax on our people? Simply because they have an addiction." So got some interesting support up there.
That's an interesting quote too. I mean, that's kind of that's what makes has made tobacco taxes so attractive for what, almost 200 years.
Yeah.
The notion that people won't put this product down, so it's always been that sort of guaranteed source of revenue.
Yeah, but not to be outdone by the Democrats up there. Chris Wallman, her quote is, it tastes like Skittles, but it's a cigarette. So don't worry, ignorance does prevail.
Taste the ring.
So What else did I do this week? What else did we do this week? I gotta say, this is a team effort. There's no way I could do this by myself.
I know. Trust me.
Nevada?
Nevada. We put that out as well. From what I was reading to follow up, it sounds like this bill is kind of just sitting somewhere now. There have been a couple people that have said that they don't see this going anywhere. But I think even if it doesn't happen with SB 79, there will likely be other attempts. And I believe that Nevada has already a definition somewhere that I think basically all they have to do is say, this is the definition, and it includes anything containing nicotine. So there is a real threat, even if SB 79 doesn't go anywhere, there is still a real threat in Nevada that tobacco products, that e-cigarettes will be considered tobacco products and be taxed. And I don't have anything official yet about this, but this could be something that turns into the state actually seeking tax payments for earlier years.
And Nevada's kind of a weird cookie because a lot of times they have had quite a few bills that they've been able to go and retroactively try to gain tax before.
Yeah.
This is not something that's unusual in Nevada. The other thing that
go ahead.
The other thing that concerns me is this goes way back to about 3 years ago. A lot of people think that the Minnesota tax was enacted by running a bill through and getting a win that way, but in fact it was just a change of a definition. So we've also seen that before too, and that worries me.
Yeah, I know that it's a completely unrelated issue. I know that New Jersey last year, I think, changed some commercial tax code, and they did it about the middle of the year, and they made it retroactive. So I know that, like, our landlord had 6 months or something worth of back taxes that they owed. And if you know anything about commercial taxes in New Jersey, you know that that's a pretty hefty number. So yeah, we're paying close attention to Nevada and anticipate some other weird stuff to happen. And I'm actually looking. They don't archive their testimony there, but you can contact there's an office in the legislature. You can contact them and order a CD or DVD version of the testimony. So I would very much like to see. I've been having some computer issues, so I wasn't able to watch the testimony. So that is Nevada. Hawaii, did we do that this week?
We haven't talked about Hawaii yet.
We there was something about Hawaii, but we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, Hawaii is just a shitstorm.
Every year.
Yeah, I am really unfamiliar with Hawaii and their legislative process. I do have to say that there's a group on Facebook, the Hawaii Vapers United, that are on the ground and seem to be very on top of this. This is one of those kind of rare instances where we're actually able to direct people to a group on the ground already. So if you're in Hawaii, check out Hawaii Vapers United for most recent updates on legislation there. I'm not gonna sit here and read all of these bills.
There's a buttload.
Yeah, and it's not even all of them from what I have on my list. Yeah, just in case anybody in the chat has friends in Hawaii, there's our call to action for it. You're looking at 3 different rates of tax, and then of course there's 4 bills there that would include electronic cigarettes and Hawaii's smoke-free air laws.
Yeah.
I guess the one ray of hope in Hawaii is it seems like there are many different hearings on bills before it actually becomes a law. So it seems to go from committee to committee before it gets to the full floor of whatever house. So that's a good thing. It's just very hard to track.
I know that Wyoming passed their packaging, the childproof packaging thing this past week.
That 174.
Yeah, their Senate has an alternate version, I guess, or they have to approve it. The House, it's already passed the House.
Yeah, so then it moves on to the Senate. And I think, our issue with that was, I'm getting it up here in my thing. Our issue with this was that, there's language in there that it's a tricky subject because it's one of the few laws I've seen that says we want, literature about tobacco harm reduction. But it sort of set off alarms for us because the literature that's out there that helps inform people's understanding of THR there's a lot of really bad science out there, as we all know, and so our position was that the wording of the bill needed to be more specific. Not just leaving it up to peer review, but these need to be scientifically accurate materials. And I can't remember if it was actually amended to throw accurate in there. I might be thinking of the wrong bill, but it was a sticky situation, I think. So I won't occupy dead space while I'm looking for this here. And of course, they hand this off to an unelected board to come up with this language that the people aren't necessarily going to have an input on or be able to vet before it's. So, using a science and experience-based approach, Department of Health shall develop and implement comprehensive tobacco prevention, cessation, and treatment programs for Wyoming. Yeah, they didn't really change the language on this. So, program shall include peer-reviewed, science-based educational materials, which, you could basically hand a sheet with some bullet points on it to Stan Glantz and ask if he,
Would you review this?
Yeah,
Yep.
Could you point us in the direction of science that we could put into a bit of informational packets? And then, of course, you just get a bunch of flowery pictures that say "Don't smoke." That was our concern with the bill.
So we got Washington.
That was
Washington
an update
State,
on Washington.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me through this, Knock. I am. My brain is fried. And we got more. We got just good hits. Just keep on coming, man.
Yeah.
Washington State. We have a pair of bills. One in the House, one in the Senate. This is the whole companion bill thing. And again, this is not the last anything. But these are the bills that look like, all that kind of that flurry of activity at the beginning of the year with that kind of monstrous draft legislation that everybody was freaking out about. These are pretty much those bills. So a 95% sales tax, prohibit online sales, all flavors banned except for tobacco, mint, wintergreen, and menthol, and no sampling in vapor shops.
Yeah.
So pretty horrible. And we have multiple opportunities for this. So we're asking people to send emails, make phone calls, to both of the committees in the House and Senate and call your own senator and representative. And I've seen a few phone calls come through our emails, so that's good.
Arkansas?
Arkansas.
We have not released. Oh wait, we did.
You did.
Yes, you did. House Bill 1156.
Sorry, no. This is and just to explain that this is partially my fault. I was looking. This is one of the early bills that I saw, and this is another. Was HB 1156, and I'll have to follow up on this because I don't have an update right now.
Yeah, this was supposed to be on Friday, but no news. Or Thursday?
Well,
Wednesday.
What was the 11th? Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it was scheduled for the Wednesday the 12th at noon.
So here's the thing about this. First of all, it is a 7.5 cent per milliliter tax on e-liquid, and this smacks of what we saw in North Carolina, a very tiny, unnoticeable tax that basically favors the products from the large tobacco companies, and the thing about it is, and the reason why I didn't jump all over this, and possibly no one else jumped all over this, is it was assigned to the Rules Committee, which is not really a place where you. That just doesn't sound to me. It doesn't sound like the place where you start the day off right. I haven't researched what Rules Committees do, but it's. This is usually the place that bills go to die.
Well, I guess I've got a little more information on this particular bill. This bill was introduced by a House Junior Democrat, and from what I can find out about it is, though it has the hallmarks of what we saw in North Carolina, it's not brought in the same way because the exemptions aren't there for the other products. So, kind of a strange situation in Arkansas because you've got basically a first-term Democrat that's introducing a bill in a pretty Republican House.
Yeah, if this is who everybody thinks it is, it's a very strange way for them to do this.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, even the Rules Committee is stacked with Republicans. So there wasn't a lot of alarm. Of course, that changed over that weekend, and I kind of rushed to put this out. So I'll have to follow up with that and see where that is going. And
with all these bills, even if it turns out to be something that's a little bit of a false alarm, we still need to respond the right way so that we can make sure that we get our input in on these bills.
Yeah.
Yep.
But again, sometimes it's you want to keep your powder dry.
Yep.
I got that right this week.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Oh God, what else did we do this week? Anybody know?
Let me double check. I'm running down the list.
Nevada, Arkansas, Washington, Hawaii, North Dakota, Indiana. Maryland was late last week.
Oh, yeah, I haven't been on in a couple weeks.
Vermont.
Right. You were in California last week, I think.
Yep. Maryland was the SB 26. That's the indoor use ban. Yeah, I need to digest an update from that. That was heard, but no vote was taken, which is a good sign to some extent. And we had, I believe, both Ron Ward and Greg Conley made it down there. And I don't know if Godshaw made it down there or not, but we had some friendlies.
He did the last time, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then something happened in Alaska, possibly.
I haven't heard anything from Alaska.
I haven't heard anything from Alaska
I
either.
was going to say the last thing I had was somebody sent me a message about if you, due to the weather in Alaska, you are able to attend these hearings via teleconference, but that was the last thing I heard. So,
Yeah.
any Vapers in Alaska, let us know.
I'm looking down my list right quick to see if I missed anything right quick.
We had some local issues in California, but they all ended. They all happened last week, and nothing, no follow up yet.
Let me see here. Okay, one more list to look at.
What an insane year. I should really put dates next to these things so I keep track of all of this.
You're like the king of spreadsheets. I'm sure you have something. Yeah, we had Hennepin County, Minnesota, Vacaville, California, Paradise, California, Highland, Illinois, and then Alaska was SB1. But
yeah, there's SB1 and SB40. But I think SB1 was the problem child.
Yeah, I don't have anything else on that.
But those were all the active issues. We are in a wait mode now for the next batch to hit us.
Well, looking at my list, what's coming up here? Updated those 3. Apparently, we're waiting for something in Kentucky, Maine, and let's see,
Ohio.
Tennessee. Not quite sure what's going on with it's kind of keeping an eye on a couple of bills in Tennessee that look promising, but open the door for some bad things to happen. New Mexico is looking at a tax. The Ohio budget was just released, and that's kind of a monster. I forget all the numbers there, but that's not good for anybody. Vermont has a usage ban in play, and potentially something about taxes. Well, likely something about taxes. Let's see. North Dakota did that. Maryland will probably issue an update soon. West Virginia would be a labeling bill. Illinois has an indoor vape ban introduced. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire's that weird one, right? Everything.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's wrong with. I don't know what's up with New England, man. It's like New Hampshire, even Vermont and Connecticut all have crazy stuff going on. I think Connecticut, again, another legislative process that is a little unfamiliar to a lot of us, I think. The way that the bills kind of work their way through is they show up as basically proposals. I mean, they have bill numbers on them, but they're still kind of in draft form. So there's like 3 or 4 bills that I have on a list for Connecticut, but we're waiting for some more official language on those.
So you mentioned Ohio with the tax issue, but there's also a draft from Shannon Jones that is a packaging issue too.
I don't have that on my list. I have HB 64, which is the budget and is thousands of pages long.
Yeah.
And yeah, if anybody wants to read through that,
This was just released on Thursday.
Yeah, I think that starts. I think the e-cig part starts on like page 2001. So some light Sunday evening reading for somebody out there. And yeah, I don't have the other Ohio bill on this list. Maybe I got it on another list. But I'll check into that tonight.
Just give me something to do.
Yeah, I don't know. We might need 9 days in a week to really cover everything next week. But that's just kind of what we're. That's what I got so far.
You know, and this is. Here's the bad news. It's not like we didn't expect it, though. That's the bad
Right.
news. So we expected this to become an increasing, and as the year goes along, there will be quite a bit more as we go forward. Some really dumb ideas, some ideas that are going to hold some weight, and we have to look and figure out the best way to go at them.
What's active in California, statewide?
Still got a month before that starts out there, right?
Before before
their
state
session starts.
I think so.
No, California has actually been in session.
Okay.
From what I remember, I think California's session actually kind of starts in December, if I remember that correctly.
Does it? Let me look.
Let me just.
They're just weird. Those damn lefties on the left coast.
Yeah, it's So California, their 2015, their legislature is kind of in. Their start date is December 1st, but yeah, there's a deadline for introductions, which is February 27th.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I would assume to see things kind of ramp up there, but we already have, 1, 2, 3 different bills. Stefan can chime in the chat with the bill numbers there. So yeah, California is up and running. Yeah, in Ohio, I'm looking at SB 54 would be the Ohio packaging bill, I think, what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm adding it to my list.
How exciting.
More stuff.
Oh, jeez.
And we're,
But on a bright note,
7 weeks in?
Yeah.
I'm not even counting anymore. It still feels like the second week in January.
Wow. Well, before we start into any other topics, I was going to give Robin a chance, if she can, to give us an idea of the events that are coming up, and maybe from there that'll give some people some ideas of where they can meet up with us if they want to talk about specific issues. And I just give everybody kind of a warning through the month of March. This show will not be airing very much because we will be on the road a lot.
It's a busy month. Okay, ready for me?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to start with February 28th to March 1st, and it's VCC Tampa, and that's at the Tampa Convention Center. Same weekend on the 28th of February, just a one-day event from 11 in the morning till 7 at night. It's Vape in the Fort in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and that's at the Fort Wayne Hotel. From on 3/6 and 3/7, March 6th and 7th, is Vape Fest. That's in Las Vegas, and that's at the Flamingo Hotel. And then on March 13th, 14th, and 15th, it's Vape Blast Dallas. The 13th is just business to business. The other 2 days are for the general public. And that is at the Dallas Fort Worth Convention Center. Then on March 20 and 21 is Vapor Slam. And that's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at the Benton Convention Center. Wow. I'm tired from reading March. In April, we have on the 17th and 18th, that's Vape Bash, and that's in St. Charles, Illinois. It's different than the place where they had it last year, I believe. I wasn't there last year, but it's at the Pheasant Run Resort. Then we actually jump to June, and that's June 5th and June 6th is Vape Expo. That's our event. Yay! And that's in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the Clarion Hotel and Convention Center, I believe. then 6/13 and 6/14, June 13th and 14th, the following weekend, we'll be in Pennsylvania at BCC Pennsylvania. It's the first time they're having a big event like that in Pennsylvania, and since that's where I'm from, I'm excited. It's in Pittsburgh, and it's at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center. I'm almost done. We have there's some stuff that is kind of we don't have anything confirmed yet, but some stuff that's coming up probably in August and maybe September. But I'm going to go to July 26th. It's actually July 26th through July 29th, and that's in Washington, but I don't know exactly where yet. Washington State, not D.C. I don't know where yet. So when we have details, we'll let you know. And then in October, 10/16 through 10/18, is the Vape Dynasty Expo in Phoenix, Arizona, at the Phoenix Plaza and something. I can't read my own writing, but it's in Phoenix. So, and that's all I've got. I mean, there's other stuff that I kind of have scribbled, but we haven't nailed down yet, and I'm not sure where it is, kind of stuff. That's it. It's plenty. We'll be busy.
Yeah, so another very, very busy month. And, you know, as we go forward, you know, we've tried for the last year and a half to try to get different groups kicked off or started at the state level in so many places. And so far we've had some pretty good luck with Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Indiana. We're going to be talking to those guys here in just a few minutes. Of course, Utah's got a great group going together. Mark Burton and Stefano have done a real good job with out there in California. Got one forming up in Michigan. It's up to the vendors to get together and get these groups started at the level so that they can support putting a lobbyist on the ground. That's the biggest and important reason for these groups to form. They can't form at the state level. There's not a lot that anyone else can do for them because you have to have that bridge to get into the people that are within that state.
Dead air.
What? Dead air? Oh, we have a little bit of dead air every once in a while. I was trying to get a couple things together here.
It's a long week.
Neighbors banging on stuff.
Well, it might have been my hammering on the keyboard too.
No, that wasn't
It has been suggested that I type really loud.
He bangs on the keyboard.
I'm typing very gently, but for some reason my microphone must amplify my typing.
You're a loud typer.
Yeah.
It's because he's always angry.
I'm never angry. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
Let me put this article in. There was an article that I saw earlier in the week that was published in Conversation. It's about Britain's efforts to reduce smoking and how that's become a very major industry over the past year. The cessation programs and the NRT products. I want to get everybody to take a look at that because we stand a very good chance of being caught up in something similar or may already be well in the throes of this. One of the things that they do in Europe is there's a lot of the cessation programs are publicly funded. Interesting point there. And as we go forward, we're hearing a lot of laws and a lot of things that are coming out about changes in insurance companies that are going to no tobacco policies. And within those no tobacco policies, there's if you get hit the first time, there's a cessation mandate and even prescriptions that will go forward on that. So I'll figure that out in a minute. So it's one of the things that I want to think about. We don't want you people thinking about.
Echo, echo, echo.
Yeah. Let me see if there's anything I can do to change it. Hang on.
I don't have it.
Mm-mm. Not on my end either. I think the issue is the insurance companies see an opportunity to charge their folks that are no longer smoking that tobacco premium that keeps money flowing into their coffers. The company that I work for does not do that, but I know other people that have the same insurance company that does. So it's not just the insurance company, it's the employers that are negotiating these contracts. And if your employer already has a opinion, they have it written in their contract. Because I have a certain company, and my company approves of vaping, and it's not written into our contract. Who is not wearing headphones?
No, I don't see it.
Not guilty.
Because I hear my voice now.
Really?
Yes.
Just to comment on this article that you shared, Joe, I wonder if something like this was, well, not necessarily, I don't think wonder is the correct word, but the update that we saw from FDA last year about extended, prolonged use of NRT, the label change on NRTs to reflect that long-term use was okay.
It kind of puts them in an interesting odds because we see our people in public eye like the president who continues to use an NRT product well beyond its suggested interval.
My dad's been using gums and lozenges for 6 years.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon, you know?
I don't think it's uncommon at all. However, you'll get public health who will vehemently deny that happens.
They just bury the studies.
Yeah.
It's something for people to look at and start thinking about as we go forward. I'm still trying to adjust for that echo. Hang on. I don't see what it could be.
No.
Hello? I'm still hearing my voice.
I don't hear mine at all. I don't hear you echoing either.
It's not that important, as long as everybody can hear.
Yeah. It doesn't sound terribly annoying on my end. I can hear my voice, but one of you just has a really good microphone.
Not probably.
Mystery solved.
It's probably not.
I have my headphones on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. I don't know.
One of the things I wanted to bring out, I got derailed on this particular article. One of the things I wanted to bring out is they have in the UK. There's the different paths. You've got two different paths that are available. You've got a recreational path and a medical path. And what's kind of interesting now is finally we're starting to get some feedback from them in that apparently the UK has finally realized that the tobacco industry is going to survive if they go into this industry. And I just find it kind of funny at this point in the game that they would come out in that manner. So everybody pretty much at this point in the early part was thinking the tobacco industry would go away, that they would not be having any type of a foothold in it. But I just think it's kind of strange that at this point they suddenly realize, oh wait, by using this alternative, they may be able to go forward.
Well, they're throwing everything they can too, because they're having their alternative. They are coming out with their non-vaping electronic cigarettes that heat tobacco instead of burn, as well as a product that is pretty much the same thing as what we do. So they're trying as many options as possible.
Yeah.
Mandy says it's your fault, Robin.
My fault?
Yes.
I'm trying to find out where
Everything's
the
my
echo
fault.
is coming from.
How could that be my fault?
Why aren't we white, CB?
Okay. I was just checking to make sure my stuff's all set right, but it is.
I need new eyes.
You need white new eyes.
Yes. I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, I've checked every setting I can find over here, and I can't find it.
Do we still have it?
Yes.
I don't know why.
Crystal salt, nicotine.
Hang on just a second, let me check something. What was that?
Oh, man. I'm reading Stefan's comment about Philip Morris's next-gen vapor product. Some sort of crystal salt nicotine that produces vapor when cracking it, and it comes in touch with an acid. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
In a metal tube.
Yeah, I hope there's like some high school chemistry involved with enjoying that product. And Stefan, do they sell the safety glasses as well for that?
You gotta crack it and drop it in the thing and shake it up really fast before you can inhale it.
Like Mentos. Right?
Totally doable behind the wheel. Yeah. Probably it was designed for long haul truckers.
Maybe it's bath salts instead.
If we're lucky.
Okay, I don't see it either. Okay. Is that echo gone? Nope.
No, not yet. I wonder why.
It's okay though. No one cares.
Okay.
Find something else to be obsessed with.
Gee, thanks, Knock.
Such a knock thing to say.
Okay. Now I'm totally derailed. Let me get back to where I was so I can bring us to the next topic I was going to quickly talk about. Trying to see when Evan's going to be joining us here in about 10 minutes.
And he'll be what, joining by telephone? Is that
Yep.
what he's doing?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Knock. I
Yo.
want you to talk a little bit about the ATR thing right quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Americans for Tax Reform is a very large organization that has been fighting government overreaching taxes since Reagan was president. And since they have probably the most experience in the tax battles with the government, they are ready to step in and help us fight these silly ass vapor taxes. And there's a really cool blog written by some really smart guy on our website, sort of giving the history of ATR, what they've done, and how you can help, because nothing in life is free, and sadly they are going to need some money to do this. We're asking vendors in every state to cough up a couple bucks. It works out to about $1,000 per state. So, I mean, it's not a lot of money if you break it down amongst everybody in the state, but it goes a long way because, you know, they're going to fight taxes anyway, but there are certain things and initiatives and things that they can do if there is a little bit of money to throw around. They have representation in all 50 states, and I think we should all jump in line and throw that out there.
And the other thing I
And
wanted you to cover was what you guys are doing on Vaping Militia Radio.
Woo! Vaping Militia Radio. That is the radio show that Robin, Monkey, and I do every Friday night.
Yep.
We discuss all the big news events or articles that we find, and some of them maybe don't make the Facebook circles and things like that, but they're issues that we need to talk about. This last week we talked about in two different places in California there were mods exploding, so we discussed that. We also discussed 2 weeks ago we discussed the horrible reporting that occurs when something happens that's bad and an e-cig is involved, even in the most remote way that has nothing actually to do with what happened, but somebody had one, and oh my god, e-cigarettes are evil. And I get a little angry on there, and I think I use the words that Alex are never allowed to use quite frequently.
You do. So do I.
The stories about phones exploding, well, there's not as many anymore. That's the problem. I mean, that does occur, but it doesn't occur as frequently anymore as it used to, so it's not getting the attention. You will probably never see a story of a regulated mod exploding because it has circuitry that prevents it. Same thing in most occasions with your cell phones and your laptops and stuff. That's why typically the batteries will vent and there may be some heat exchange, but they don't usually explode. We don't know the details in a lot of these explosions. We know that a couple weeks ago one exploded in a high school gym because some kids were playing with an e-cig in the middle of the gym. So that occurred. Then this week a mod blew up in a man's face while he was at a liquor store. So I'm not quite sure what the hell's happening with that. But he was in a liquor store, apparently having a cloud competition with a very low build. I mean, we have no idea. But it's going to happen more. As there's more people vaping, there's more chances that bad things are happening because there's just more people. You know, it didn't happen as frequently before when our numbers were lower, but now that there's more people out there doing it, there's going to be more reports of it.
Okay, I'm connecting Evan right now, so if you guys hear some noises in the background, that's what that is.
Okay.
Well, you're done, Knock? You're supposed to keep going.
Oh, I'm supposed to keep going. You interrupted me, so I just thought I was done. What else did we talk about, Robin?
We talked about teenagers. We talked a lot about teenagers with flavors.
That's my normal rant of the week is the teenagers and the irresponsible vendors selling to teenagers.
And then there was that whole thing about teenagers who vape more likely to get addicted to cocaine or something. Remember that story?
Yeah, there was that story about I think they threw a rat into a 5-pound bag of cocaine, and they gave him a vape before they threw him in the bag, and he came out a cocaine addict. But
I just wanted to hear you say that again. I said that on the show.
I don't understand these assholes. And I'm telling you, the majority of the scientists that are in this for the paycheck.
Yeah.
They all are given, an end, and they say, okay, do an experiment that gets us this result. And the sad thing is our enemy groups, the ants and the body part organizations and the anti-tobacco groups and public health and the tobacco companies themselves are all ganging up on us all at one time.
Yeah.
And you never see a news report in a big publication when a good study comes out. It's always the bad studies, and because they have press agents with big, deep pockets that can pay to get a story published.
Some of the studies are ridiculous. How about the one where they took all the mice and put them like in a little box and blew vapor in at them, but there was no ventilation or anything, and just blew lots of vapor in.
We talked about that. When you go to a vape meet and you've got 20,000 people vaping in an enclosed space, you have a lot of clouds and you have a lot of extra stuff in the air, and you get a little scratchy throat. But that's like one day. But they did it to the poor rats. They put them in a box. They blew huge clouds in there, and they did that for an hour and a half every day until they died.
Mm-hmm. With no ventilation whatsoever.
Of course, we all understand that we're inhaling stuff, and it may cause irritation. They may have thrown a swab in there with some Ebola in it, for all I know, to see if the infection would spread quicker.
Let's see. Evan, can you hear us?
So
Back to
anyway,
ranting, Renak, while I correct this.
Continue the rant.
Keep derailing my train of thought.
Sorry.
So, yes, I mean, the ridiculous testing standards and the way they design their actual experiments are always flawed.
Yeah,
They
typically
never use real-world conditions.
Yeah, never.
They're exposing small animals or specific cells to either human-sized doses or kind of heroic doses of whatever, and it's fairly inaccurate. And also,
it's like the 15 times formaldehyde study. They burnt the fucking cotton. They put way more voltage, and they ramped up the wattage to the point where nobody would ever vape.
Right.
But when they opened the cap of whatever it was that they were looking at, and they saw this huge charcoal in there where the cotton used to be, oh well, that's the way people vape.
Right. Or how about when they decided to blow vapor at cadaver tissue from 8 to 10-year-olds and use that as a study? Remember that one?
That was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, they took donated lung tissue from poor dead children.
Yeah, that's highly politicized from the very beginning. You just who cares if it came from? I mean, it's just
There's so many things wrong with that study. So many things.
Necrotic tissue from dead children, and they, dip it in e-liquid with, 100% nicotine in it. yeah, that's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
Evan, are you on the line there?
I was just going to say,
Yes,
because
yes, I am.
Oh, go ahead.
There we go. Okay. We don't have you by video, so what I'll do is, can everybody hear Evan?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, we hear him.
Hello.
Trying to make sure they can hear you. Good. Okay, Evan, why don't you tell us what you guys are doing out in Indiana?
Well, right now, we're just wrapping up our strategy meeting for the night. And we're looking at some action coming this week, early this week. On Tuesday, we have a Senate hearing on SB 539. That's the big manufacturer restrictions, requirements, pharmaceutical-grade facilities, casino-grade security, and basically banning e-liquid manufactured anywhere but inside Indiana. So we've been working with the senator who authored that bill to try to basically limit that down to some reasonable things like not selling to minors, child-proof caps, safety seals, things like that, and giving them the way of recognizing businesses that are involved in the industry so that they can look for the bad players that are apparently there's just an outbreak of e-liquid manufacturers putting illicit drugs in their e-liquids. I've never seen it, and the prosecutors say nobody's been prosecuted or charged, but apparently it's just, oh man, happening on every street corner. So we're
the same guys that
meeting trying to make it. We're trying to make reasonable accommodations while still protecting the vapor business and protecting vapors' rights here in Indiana. And the next Senate hearing is Tuesday morning. It's limited testimony. Basically, this bill went through committee once before, was narrowly passed. It passed 6-4. The committee said that there were a lot of problems with the bill, that it needed to be amended. It went to the Senate floor, and for some reason on the Senate floor, it was kicked back to the Tax and Fiscal Policy Committee. So it was recommitted to committee, and they're going to be listening to the financial and economical impact this bill will have on Indiana. And so we have to limit our discussion to that topic, and we're only going to be able to have one or two people speak in opposition of the bill. So, and then later that day, we actually meet with Senator Yoder again to sit down and go over additional amendments to the bill. So it's an ongoing process with that one piece of legislation, and that's just one of the 5 bills. Now, actually, there are 6 bills dealing with vaping and vaping businesses in Indiana. So it's a long struggle. Every day is a new fight and a new battle and a new legislator that we got to hold hands with, and so it's an ongoing fight.
Can you tell us a little bit about the group that you guys have formed and who's in it and how you think it's going there in Indiana?
So there was a group here in Indiana called the Hoosier Vapers, and they have a council that's made up of advocates and a good thing, and they successfully have fought some local ordinances banning vaping in Indiana. They've been around for, I believe, 3 or 4 years now, but this was the big test for the organization. And it kind of rallied the business owners in the state and the advocates in the state to come together as one unified force so that we don't have everybody going off doing their own thing. We have a unified voice, kind of like the way a union goes in with collective bargaining. We have a group of core individuals that represent each segment of the industry, from manufacturers to retail establishments to mod makers to retailers who also mix their own e-liquids, down to just regular advocates. We've got distributors. So we're all represented here at our strategy table where we talk about how each section of the code impacts each business industry. So no one's getting screwed, basically. So, we have that organization where we're all sitting down and working on this together, and then we go back to our large body group of over 100 stores in Indiana and kind of let them know what's going on, let them ask questions, let them feel comfortable with the work that we're doing, representing the industry as a whole. So that's what we've done. We've got a lobbyist working in the House, and then we've got me kind of spearheading the Senate movement, and then we've just got regular communications with the business owners and the advocates so that everybody knows not only what's going on, but what they can do to help in the fight.
And if somebody's wanting to get in touch with you guys, what's the best way for them to do it?
You can go to the website, HoosierVapers.com, or visit on Facebook, which is Hoosier Vapers on Facebook as well. That's about the easiest way. You can also email me directly if you'd like to. I can't believe I'm going to broadcast this on the internet, but it's evan@liberationvape.com.
We'll get that put in the chat right quick. Now, you guys are a mixture of both vendors and vapors, is that correct?
That is correct.
Have you divided those guys out into any types of action groups or anything like that?
Not really, just because we need to be so unified, and our messages have to be in sync that we really can't have people split up calling on their own specific micro message. We all need to be kind of tailored to the same thing so that when a legislator is getting called, they're hopefully receiving 10 or 15 calls from their district, and they're getting the exact same message over and over again. So, separating into those little niches, sometimes you have that delay in communication that just really can't have happen. We have to be just Johnny on the spot with everything. Like, we don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure that the House hearings are going to happen Wednesday, but I won't know until tomorrow afternoon when the schedule comes out at the State House. Well, as soon as I know, I need to be able to broadcast that to as many people as possible that they need to be at the State House on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. I don't want people to show up there at 8:30 a.m. if the hearing is not going to happen, but I need as much time as possible to get that message out if it happens.
When you guys are doing these, when you bring people in like that, are you working with people so you guys get a bit more of a direct message, giving people certain areas that they should be talking about?
When you're working with people, what do you mean?
Helping them understand what topics they need to be on and things like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the key things that we do is, especially out to shop owners, is we send out an almost a verbatim thing. Say this if you feel comfortable saying this. And the more comfortable you feel, the kind of more off script you can go. But we give you the exact talking points of what needs to be hit. Same with getting emails, things like that. That way you're, not saying something wrong, if you will. Because sometimes it's not saying the right thing, it's not saying the wrong thing.
Oh yeah, we know very well what you're talking about there. Some people in their passion to try to get their point across seem to take a little bit of liberty with the truth.
Right. Well, it's not even so much that. It's you may say something thinking you're demonstrating how the industry self-regulates, and you may actually point to something that actually hurts our discussions and negotiations. Because it's then, oh, well, I didn't know that had happened. So there's little things like that, or, pointing out something that somebody else is doing that they haven't corrected yet. That's not a good idea. But that happens just because you're zealous in presenting that we're a good industry that is concerned with consumer safety. We're concerned about what our customers are using and how they're using it, that we may inadvertently say something that is going to be misconstrued by the legislature.
Yeah, we see that very commonly. And there's a lot of times when we're reviewing testimony where you'll see someone say something and just look at it and go, "Did he really say that?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there's always, I had a couple different legislators ask me. They would say, what are things that you would agree with in this bill? And I would say absolutely nothing. And they would say, well, come on. And I would say, well, the industry has proven that we can self-regulate. As an industry, we've turned to, accepting child safety caps, tamper-proof seals, putting the milligram strength or dosages on our bottles. These are things as an industry that we did on our own that we weren't told to do or forced to do. We just did it because it was good business for our consumers. So I don't think we need a government bureaucracy, and we certainly don't need 50 different government bureaucracies dictating the minutia of how we run our day-to-day operations. So I always say, no, there's nothing that I really like about these laws. And they say, well, you would agree that some regulation is needed, right? No. I think we're doing a pretty good job as an industry growing. We've only been around for a few years, and it's only really started to take off. The soda industries didn't have immediate regulations, and, in every industry, you have those growing pains in the beginning. Yeah, in our early Wild West days, maybe we weren't doing things as not kosher as we probably could have been, but we learned, and we learned from our consumers. They told us, hey, we don't want you doing it like this, and we went, oh, okay, great, sure. We'll put that on there. That makes sense. Great. So we've done that kind of on our own. And industries will naturally do that. And I fear that the images of a legislator that need to create those safeguards will be damaging to the industry and will lead people to continue buying their, traditional, crappy, horrible cigarette. That's the unintended consequence of regulating a business out of existence is you're going to have, in Indiana, we have over 1 million smokers. I would like to see them all healthy and happy tomorrow. But if they're going to regulate the vaping industry out of business, they're going to keep on smoking. And they're going to continue on dying and getting illnesses, and, that's going to keep happening. You got to be careful about being tricked into agreeing to something that isn't necessarily the best thing.
I hear you there. A lot of people, we frequently have gone to a similar stance when we're talking with people who want us to list off those things in a bill that we agree with, and there's very frequently nothing that we agree with at all.
Right.
Tell me
I said, one legislator said to me, would you agree with these little regulations? Would you agree with them? And I said, why do you need them if we're already doing them? Yeah. Why would it need to be a law if it's something that we're already doing? That doesn't make sense. Right.
Tell me, how about the growth in Indiana? Tell me how you guys have been growing. That interests us because you guys, I saw you guys on my radar about 2.5 months ago. And I understand you guys are up well over 100 vendors now?
Yeah, we have, when I first got involved with the council beginning mid-January and kind of helping politically as a vendor and as somebody that has political experience, I think the contact list was 34-ish confirmed businesses, around 60-ish that were unconfirmed. And now we're in contact with over 100 different vendors and different segments of the industry. And that's just vendors. That's not even our advocates and vapers in general. So it's been real impressive. And also, we know that their businesses we're not in contact with. We know it for a fact. We've seen them. So there's a lot more businesses in Indiana around vaping than I actually even thought. At one point in time, somebody asked me how many vape shops were there in Indiana, and I said, "Oh, I don't know, about 60." And now I know God, I wouldn't even want to put a number on it. It could easily be over 200. And that's not counting, of course it's not counting the gas stations and things like that kind of sell vaping products, but not really. But yeah, that's massive growth. And the other thing is you see in some other areas where no one's coming together. You see in some of the other states where they're looking down at some really awful, horrible, anti-vaping legislation, and you go, where are the shop owners? Where are the advocates? You see the photos of their events, and you see 10 people. Well, hell, in our strategy meeting, we had 15 to 20. And that was a closed meeting. That was just sitting around the table going over the bills with a highlighter. But then you look at, our rallies, and we get over 200 people in a state house during the middle of the day on a Thursday. We were there all day because it was an all-day thing. So the shop owners have really come together. We've got 2 people sitting in a room right now who are direct competitors with each other in a small town. They are each other's competition, and they are working hand in hand to protect each other's businesses right now. So, once this is all done, they may go back to, throwing rocks at each other. But for right now, they're working hand in hand to protect each other. So the only way these things can be beaten is if we come together, the community, and join as vendors and advocates, put our time and resources in beating this back. No one's going to do it for you.
Let me put you on the spot here with a question, Evan.
Right.
We've seen these groups start to form in other states, and to tell you the truth, it's very embarrassing for an advocate to look at the response that we see in other states because they just don't get it. They don't ever come together. Now, the spot that I'm going to put you on is what made Indiana different. Tell me so I can go do it everywhere else in the United States.
Well, I think this is going to sound corny, but it's the good old Hoosier drive. People here in Indiana, when we start something, we finish it. We see it all the way through. And we're the type of people we live and let live here, in Indiana. We don't care what you're doing as long as you're not doing it to me. Well, they're doing it to me. And the last thing I'm going to do is sit by and watch as you're doing it to me. And everybody here, the shop owners, very quickly learned, they saw it, that if they sat by and did nothing, their businesses would be closed July 1st. It was very clear. It's not a maybe, it's not an if, it could happen. July 1st, if this legislation passed the way it was introduced, they would have to close the doors. And they didn't want to do that. And it wasn't just because it's all about the money, it's because of the community. When you see a shop owner who could be making a lot more money if they charged more, honestly, is in it because they're helping that first person that comes in that says, my mom died from COPD, and I'm a 2-pack-a-day smoker. I don't want to do this anymore. And they can help them become an ex-smoker. That's what they're doing it for. And to think that the state is saying, we don't want you doing that in Indiana, pissed some people off. And, you're trying to take my store away. You're trying to take this away from Hoosiers. Not going to happen. So it was really just the decision by the individual to say, you're not going to do this to me. Not here, not in Indiana.
That's great. I'm glad you guys did come together, and I hope that we can be successful as we help other groups start to come together. But you've pointed out to one
They
big.
just got to look at it. They just got to say, Do you want to keep vaping? Do you want the state to take this away from you? Because if you don't, get off your butt now and get active. Don't wait to the day that the bill is filed. Get up and start fighting now, because I promise you, they're coming. You may not know it, you may not see it yet, but they're working on the bill right now.
Yeah, we've been
And they're
saying for 2 years.
hoping that you're going to be apathetic and just sit on your butt. We know that when we had a meeting, the senator said, I didn't think this was going to be a big deal. I thought this was going to be filed and over. And it wasn't. Now he has to have multiple meetings with us. Now it's multiple hearings. You know, why? Because we went there. Because we organized. Because it wasn't 10 people standing outside blowing clouds at the building. It was 200 people inside all day giving their story and saying, I vape and I vote. And that's what it's going to take. You can't wait for somebody else to do it. You have to get up and fight today. And you have to fight before they're on your front page. You have to fight while they're planning.
Okay, if a vapor or a vendor comes to you guys and wants to join with you guys and support you guys, do you guys have a membership due or anything like that?
Not at this time. Nope.
How about a suggested donation for vendors?
I don't think there's one. I know we're raising money to help pay for the grassroots effort and the lobbyists. But whatever they want to give, they can give. If they want to donate towards raffles and helping get people from point A to point B, that's a big help. Just reach out to us and let us know what you want to do, how you want to help, and how you can help, and we'll hook you up in the right place.
Great. And then one more thing is that I wanted to ask you was, you've got a guy from CASA that's in the room with us that is on our show, and you've got, of course, the people from the militia. What can we do to help you out?
CASA has done a great job with helping us get those emails out and those calls to action. That's such an amazing thing, and it saves us time. We didn't have to build a system to track where each person lives and getting them in contact with their individual legislator. That's been a huge help. Plus, the depth of information and resources that we have from CASA has just been amazing. There's a lot of research that's posted on the website under the resources tabs that has helped us in educating our state legislature. And I encourage everybody to take full advantage of that information being there and sharing those, studies with your legislators, especially even locally. And then, the militia, you guys are just pounding it out and telling everybody, what we're doing here in Indiana. And I think the important thing is people need to hear that we're fighting here in Indiana. And while we're not getting 100% victory, we're at the table, and we are protecting our businesses and our rights as vapors, and they can do it too. They just have to get up and start fighting, and by hearing those stories through the militia, I think helps inspire people to know that it's not a hopeless cause, that you can get up, you can fight, and you can win.
Well, Evan, I personally want to thank you guys for stepping forward and doing the right thing here. I know it takes a lot of time, and I know it takes a ton of effort to do it, and your efforts are really appreciated by myself and the board of the militia. I'm going to open this up to Knock, to Robin, and to Alex. You guys got any questions for him before he leaves?
No, I'm good.
Knock's
No, I don't
good.
have anything. Mm-mm.
Alex, you got anything?
Not so much a question as, first of all, anything, you already know, anything we can do to help, obviously, drop us a line, board@casa.org. That goes to myself, Julie, and Jan, so that's the best way to get in touch with us. And then, and I think we were on a phone call earlier, a couple weeks ago. So nice to meet you again. And then, of course, keep up the great work. It's inspiring to watch Indiana. I think I watched a video that somebody posted from the State House, and it was I got chills. I actually got a little misty. So it's really incredible to watch what you guys are doing, and I hope that the rest of the states take a page from your efforts.
Well, we appreciate that, and we hope that that hits home for people, that you can do it, and you can hear from legislators here that they knew nothing about this and would have been a yes vote. And because they heard from us and they heard from their constituents and they saw us out there in the hallway and they keep hearing from us, they're a no vote. And that wouldn't have happened if we weren't there, if we didn't show up. And we had to show up in big numbers to show that it's all across the state of Indiana.
That's great. Well, a lot of people like to approach this with a little bit of venom, and when you got these legislators that are making laws against us, that we need to be looking forward on curtailing their efforts by removing them from office and things like that. But I think right now what we all need to focus at is getting to the table and getting the discussion started. That's where we need to be, and I think you guys are in a good spot in that respect.
I work in politics, and let me tell you something. Fighting to get somebody unseated from office, there's a 90% chance that you will be reelected to office. It is very uncommon for someone to be beat in an election. It doesn't happen very often, honestly. You are much better off making sure that you are at the table ahead of time than trying to go back later and put somebody in that seat so that you can try to change the law. And even if you did unseat that person, you know how unlikely it would be to repeal a state law as a freshman legislator? It's virtually impossible. So your best bet, honestly, is to try to stop it before it starts by being at the State House ahead of time. If you can get a lobbyist to represent your organization, do it now. Build advocacy groups, show up at rallies, be respectful, but be present, be there and show that you're not, the wild, wild west, that you're not doing anything wrong. But start preparing for a fight now and try to preempt it. And then if it comes and it happens, make sure you're prepared to be at the table to work with that legislator. If you can get if we were looking at the legislation that was originally submitted, every business in Indiana would be closed July 1st. As it stands right now, the bill is still miles away from anything we would be willing to accept. But at least, as of right now, it would be a nightmare scenario, but it's not as bad as it was.
That's great. I'm very proud of what you guys have done there. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying we've still got time to continue to work on it. So there's still, we've still got steps in the process, but we're part of the process. We're not just outside screaming at the building.
Yeah, I'm very proud of what you guys have been able to accomplish to this point. It's amazing. We need to see this happening in all the states, and that those dialogues need to be started where we are actually talking to these people and getting things done right.
Mm-hmm. And look at Tennessee. Tennessee had a legislator that introduced a bill to actually make sure that vaping was excluded from tobacco legislation, that it was not a tobacco product. That is beautiful to me. And look at Tennessee. What do they have? They have the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association. They're organized. They're working. And that wouldn't have happened if they weren't there.
And to this point, you've got Florida, you've got Tennessee, you've got Georgia that's just started to come together, Michigan that's coming together, California's starting to organize, Utah has organized, Minnesota's organized, and been organized for the past 3 years. But we're still waiting on the other states to step up to the plate. We're barely a fifth of the way there.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort, but I want to be able to vape in Illinois. I want to be able to go to a store to my neighbor state and not feel like a criminal. I want to be able to travel across the country and not feel like I'm, a smoker, because I'm not, and I don't want to be treated like one. But it's going to require all of the states working hard to educate our legislators and then to fight back on these, protectionist bills for big tobacco.
Great. Well, I've got a few more seconds. If you got any parting words you want to give to our audience, I'd appreciate it.
Visit us at HoosierVapers.com and on Facebook, Hoosier Vapers, and get up and get active. This is about you, and this is about your rights. It's going to take you and not somebody else to fight for them.
Well, we do appreciate it. And again, you have my personal thanks and the board as well from the militia. We all are very proud of what you guys have done down there. And please, 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 if you need any help, just scream. We'll get some help for you.
Hey, and I'm looking forward. I know a bunch of us are looking forward to coming up and seeing you guys at Vape in the Fort.
I'll be there.
Robin will
I'll
be there.
Yeah.
I mean, Fred and me. Yep. Make sure you
Looks like it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it should be.
And we'll be there.
Good. Be nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Evan.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
Let's see if I can get everything back to where it belongs. Hang on.
Okay. Easier said than done.
Yep. And again, it's a great thing to see what's going on there in Indiana and seeing that group coming together as we have been trying to get groups throughout the United States together. It's good to see a state come up and start doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me go back. Knock, did you have anything else on the chart there to talk about?
There was a chart?
The list that I gave you earlier. Oh!
The voting.
Yeah.
I'll just throw that one out there.
It's February. And what I want people to start thinking about is we need to start now working towards what we're going to be doing in 2016. So it's not just the fact that you need to go register to vote, but you need to be talking to your friends, your families, and things like that, getting them aware of these issues. And this is one of the ways that we can reach out into the community, because it's not always just vapers that care about these types of issues. Many of these issues hold to some of the groups, the Leave Us Alone groups and things like that, and you guys really do need to start reaching out and informing them of these egregious rights violations. This kind of harkens back to what we've been talking about with these people from ATR, from Americans for Tax Reform. There's lots of opportunities to be able to talk to a number of people in those groups. I'm hearing myself still.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try something here.
I don't hear it though.
I'm hearing it. Let's see if that works any better. Crap. So, the big thing I want people to start thinking about is how we get these things started in other states. Now, the way Evan and those guys did it was they formed a group that is both vendors and vapors. So, if there's not a group in your state, it's time to start that dialogue. Bottom line. If you don't reach out, whether you're a vendor or a vapor, and find other people in your state that are agreeing with you that want to protect your state, you're not helping the problem at all. Now, I'm not going to say it's very easy. I know I've been dealing with guys here in Michigan for the past 3 months. And it is frustrating. But almost anybody can reach out and get these things started. What do you do when you don't find a single one?
Wow.
Well, I kind of felt that way about 6 months ago, that I couldn't find anybody in Michigan that wanted to cooperate. But more noise you make, you find sooner or later someone starts listening.
Well, I mean, I've worked an entire year to get a state trade organization started in Texas, and now it's finally growing legs. I mean, and we're a big-ass state, and we have literally thousands upon thousands of vendors here, and the vast majority of them, when you start talking about legislation and what are you going to do and advocacy, their eyes glaze over, and a good portion of them say, I'm really too busy with my business, and I've got huge wholesale orders I have to fulfill, and I don't have any extra time to deal with this. And you say to them, well, if you don't deal with it now, you're going to have plenty of time later because you're not going to be in business. They still don't want to do it. And, we have something like 9 bills in Texas this year. And I think a lot of the drive that we've gotten in Texas using the SFATA roadmap for the trade organization has been the fact that they finally saw what was coming at them at 100 miles per hour, and now they're trying to figure out a way to get out of the way.
It is very sad, isn't it, Knock, that it takes that. It takes an immediate threat before somebody finally goes, oh, yeah, I guess I do need to do something.
And, we have a meeting tonight in San Antonio, and there are something like 50 vendors supposed to show up, and they're going to start talking about joining. There's a couple SFATA members in San Antonio that are handling this meeting, and they're going to try to get more people because we already have maybe a third or half of the money to pay for the lobbyist. But we need more, obviously. To hire a lobbyist, you have to have money. And it's not up to the consumers to do that. It is up to the vendors to do that. That's one of the reasons why we drive having a separate trade organization and a consumer group. We have a very large consumer advocacy group in Texas, but to get a trade organization started was just crazy. We have almost 1,500 members in our state advocacy group, but up until recently, I don't know, maybe Stefan has a final count or a better count of what's going on in Texas, because he's also a member of our group. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's nowhere near 1,500.
And a lot of people ask me that question, how come the consumers don't hire a lobbyist? I hear that question at least once every meet we go to.
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer that?
Go
Go
for
ahead.
it. Go for it, Alex.
C is for consumer.
It's the first response to that is, do you know how much a lobbyist costs?
Mhm.
They don't.
Right.
Tens of thousands of dollars a month. That is not something that we can afford, and especially if you want to talk about trying to just take the amount of trouble, the issues, the challenges you've faced trying to form vendors associations. Those are, entities here with access to money, and they have an income and so on, and you're dealing with fewer people trying to pool all of your funds. Now imagine hundreds of thousands of that, trying to gather money and organize that level of people. It's not impossible, but I would say extremely difficult, or perhaps infuriating is probably the better way to put that. As an organization, we survive on small $5, $10 donations. We do get some large donations from from retailers and manufacturers, but even those are not. We're not talking about buy a lobbyist type money. Pay a lobbyist. And for the limited amount of money that we do take in, if we were to hire a lobbyist, we'd blow through our budget in a few months, and that's just not a very good use of our resources. So enough of why we can't do it and why vendors should do it. This is an investment in your business. I think actually Pamela put it pretty well while I was out at the meeting in California. Just about every industry has to have some sort of lobbying effort, some sort of lobbying presence at the state and federal level. The example that she gave was ambulance drivers. Ambulance drivers, people who are there to help people not die, they have to have a lobbyist. Lobbyists are not for just controversial industries. They're for everything. That's just how our system works. And I think over the years, the whole lobbyist term has been turned into kind of a hot button, a loaded term. Some political strategists managed to make that an evil word. But there is no politician anywhere that's going to, actually kick lobbyists out of some sort of law-making building. They would just be overrun with individuals talking about the same thing over and over again. I mean, nothing would happen. It would be a mess. So lobbying is sort of the way of the world. But yeah, for business owners, funding a lobbyist, funding a lobbying effort, those are business expenses for you. And
Whoa! What'd you say?
that's a business expense.
Nope. Correct yourself. It is not an expense.
Okay.
Paying money to a lobbyist when you file it for taxes comes straight off your income.
Okay.
It is. They consider it to be a revenue stream for you because you're affecting something that's going to increase your income.
It's a deduction.
So you can claim it as a. You can't
It's not
claim
an expense.
that. Okay.
You don't get to write it off in that manner because if you're paying money to the or to work government, they don't consider it to be an expense.
Okay. Then on the technical term, I am wrong.
But it does
the
bring up
cost
a
of
very
doing
good point. One of the things
But
that
yeah,
I think
let's
we're
put it
missing in
this way.
this industry is the fact that we need to create those trade groups, and those trade groups have dues. Those are expenses.
Okay. So that's the clarification I needed there. So yeah, so if you're a company and you're handing money directly to a lobbyist, which I would think is rare, given the expense, then yeah, there's no benefit really financially. Well, that's debatable as well. One way or another, funding these efforts is an investment.
I agree with you there.
Okay, that's the right word.
And one of the other topics, one of the other questions that was brought in is how could we force businesses to do this? I think we have that answer.
Well, I think something that we're working on, but I can answer your question, I think, without giving an official policy type response. But my initial thought is consumers can vote with their dollars.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Take your money to businesses that you know are fighting for your access to these products.
If they want my dollars, they got to prove to me they support fighting the craziness in government. It's just that simple.
And I mean, to some extent, I think at least our position is likely, something as simple as putting up material. We have printed material. You guys have printed material. If you're a small business and you can't afford, some of these guys are really struggling, and if it's $100 a month is not something that you can afford, there are some cheap and simple things that you can do to at least spread the word and keep your clients informed. And that's really easy. I don't even want to call that the bare minimum because that sounds a little bit dismissive, but there are some really basic and free things or relatively inexpensive things that retailers and vendors can do to spread awareness.
That display in the cards that CASA provides, that's $35, isn't it?
I'll have to double check that. For some reason, I thought that was less than 20.
Oh, is it? It could be, and I think you guys even have PDFs up for most of those if they want to print them themselves, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much. There's several things that I'll grab the link just in case anybody wants to spread that around. But yeah, there's several things that you can just take to the office store and have them, print it off for you.
I know our Vapers and Vendors Responsibility is available right on the website as a PDF file that you can take and have printed.
I was going to hold one up, but I don't have one right on my desk. For some reason, I have the AVA card on my desk, and I don't have ours.
I thought I had one here, but apparently I do not.
Oh, I do. I've got one.
I can have one in like 3 seconds.
Oh, I've got this one. Yeah, I do. I have one. Yep, I have the mission, and I have that one.
Yeah, but I don't have the other one handy. But actually, I was going to find the link right quick. Give me a second.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. It's like that, and it looks like that on that side. But yeah, they can print these from our site.
Yep.
The information that's on the other card is also on the site.
They are. I've got the link right here. I put it in chat.
Cool. Thank you.
I find chat again. I lost it. Not having a good technical day today.
Some days are like that. That's every day for me.
So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is we go back to where we started in the beginning when the militia first came out. One of the biggest messages that we brought forward still applies. you as a consumer have some control. That control you can exercise with your dollars. You can make a difference just in that way, and you can get someone's attention. So we have about 10 minutes left. And I do want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Wow. And I do want to thank our special guest, Evan. We really do appreciate you coming on for us today. And for those of you in the room that are from Indiana, thank you for stepping up and making a big difference in that state. Could you teach the other 49 to do it, please?
Yeah, really. Come to Pennsylvania, please.
Well, I mean, really and truly, we could reduce that number to about 40 because there are some states that are stepping up. I mean, we can't ever include Oklahoma in that list because they've done pretty damn well in Oklahoma.
I forgot to mention those, and I apologize because I know those guys have done a great job down there at Oval.
You know, and I'm going to point out the fact, and we discussed, you know, the state vendor group and the state advocacy group for the consumers, and Oval is one of those organizations that was a merged or all-in-one group, and they did that because it was important to respond in a fast way, and they had to do it quickly, but now they are seeing the importance of having two groups, and they are also dividing their group now. So that's something for a long-run plan.
Well, there are interests in both fields that need to be handled in a separate manner and in different manners.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
we've seen that from the militia side. We've seen that very evident on a national scale. There are many things that we see as a consumer group, but we also see a ton of things that apply basically to vendors only, and we need them to respond in a certain way on it. So.
And Lisa Bell's asking about Michigan.
Lisa, I'll put you in touch with Irv. Irv's going to be handling a lot of the consumer group stuff for me in Michigan. To tell you the truth, I just don't have enough hours in the day. Okay. So, final thoughts. You could be a little bit long-winded for a change. Not?
For a change?
Never. Not never.
Well, you know what? Since we talked about it just a little bit during the radio show, you know, we continuously hear this phrase, self-regulating. And everything that you do wrong, just think about it getting magnified on a national scale. We, by and large, preach that we are a self-regulating industry, but there are still vendors out there that have juice bottles with handwritten labels that don't have all of the information on them. We still have vendors out there selling and not carding. We still have people not doing real education with their customers when it comes to selling them a product. So there are a lot of places where we are failing, and every time a mod blows up, or every time a kid drinks e-juice, and God forbid, there's reports, we've seen it twice now, where somebody has used e-liquid as an eye drop. Every time that gets reported in USA Today or Time or any big, huge publication, it makes the entire industry look like they're doing it. So I really want to reach out to all the vendors out there. Please do a better job, because it's making everybody look bad. And maybe one guy out there doing all these bad things, but it reflects badly upon everybody. And you know,
And
There's always an and.
remember to go read the ATR blog on the vapingmilitia.org and promote it and spread it, because we really need aid. And we're not getting any of this. You click on a link, you go donate money. That goes directly to ATR. That, it does not go any way, shape, or form through the militia. It is all for ATR, and it is all to support their efforts in fighting tax issues. And that link goes right to an account that is funding just vapor issues.
Alex?
A couple of things. I did want to speak to something in chat that kind of flew by. Something about us just listing bills. I don't stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning just posting bill numbers to our website. We are not just a passive cork board that we put random bits of information on there that happen to deal with vaping. There are several opportunities to take action, and I encourage everybody to take advantage of it. Somebody during the broadcast actually sent off the Indiana call to action, the letter that we were asking people to send out, got a bunch of responses, which was awesome. It verified that the emails were correct, and that was good to see, because I kind of took a guess there. And of course, we also have the federal level call to action, which is still active. Please send emails to your state, your federal representatives and senators to ask them to change the grandfather date in the Tobacco Control Act. And then that's something that you guys kind of touched on earlier about new vapors not really taking action or getting involved. I've said this a couple of times before, and my own reaction to these products was, hey, this is great. I can smoke and I don't have to worry about all the health problems. I think a lot of people see that and kind of stop there because it is so remarkably effective, and why would anybody be coming after these products? It's almost in a way the efficacy of these products almost works against us in that regard. I get to look. I have kind of a behind-the-curtain view of how many people are actually participating in the stuff that we put out, and I can tell you it's 10%, slightly more, which is remarkable. If you are in an advocacy group and you're watching participation, 5-7% is great, and we're getting double that. The takeaway is that once people actually find out that there's an issue here, they are remarkably passionate about it and actually willing to step up. And I just think that, again, one of the things that we push all the time is outreach and education. And, there's a very polite and friendly and relationship building way to do that. And so I think we can all, to remind ourselves from time to time, there's a lot of patience involved here. And yes, it's frustrating. Trust me, I know. But once people have seen that there is an issue, I think they really are willing to fight. And that's that.
Robin? Got a few seconds?
Joe? Yeah, I always end up talking about people getting involved, getting active. And, we were looking at this little card. These guys, you can print out the information from our site. One side's for vendors, one side's for vapors. Because people tell me all the time they don't know what they can do, and it's right here for you. It's simple. It's like a little cheat sheet. It's like advocacy for dummies. But it's all right there on the site. You go get it, take a look at it, print it out if you want to. Everything's right there. There's so much you can do, a lot of it just even without even leaving your house, right in front of your computer. So I would encourage you to do that. And take a look at the site anyway if you haven't been there or you haven't been there lately. There's a lot of good information there. That's all.
Joe, any closing thoughts?
Yep. Just a quick answer on this question: how many people have died? There's been less than 5 attributed, and 3 of those were poisoning cases. One of them was a suicide by injection.
Yes.
So that's where we're at. But I can tell you what, as long as we're comparing apples to oranges and trying to use arguments of, well, you don't regulate this product, and you don't do this, and you don't do that, and how come you don't stop pharma? Yeah, we're wasting our breath. Bring real science forward. Bring good views on your own rights, and get involved. Period. That kind of covers it. Everything else, just water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Do appreciate everybody joining us. Thank you very much to Nova, VapeNet, and of course, thank you to our listeners for joining us on the Vapor Militia channel. See you next week, people.